An Associated Press report shows that American security contractors working for the controversial Gaza Humanitarian Foundation have used live ammunition and stun grenades against Palestinians waiting to get food. 2 American security contractors spoke to the AP without revealing their identity. They've leaked alarming videos showing some of the practices carried out by other contractors at the Gaza distribution sites.
Desperately seeking food, starving Palestinians instead are met with live ammunition and stun grenades. This video obtained by the Associated Press shows private security contractors working at food distribution sites run by the controversial US-Israeli-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. The AP says the first-of-its-kind video was leaked by 2 US contractors working at GHF sites. They say they've been disturbed by the dangerous and irresponsible practices they've seen. The contractors say bullets, stun grenades and pepper spray were used at nearly every distribution, even if there was no threat. One contractor said bullets were fired in all directions, at times towards hungry and desperate Palestinians. They also said security staff hired to work at the sites were often unqualified, unvetted, heavily armed, and appear to have an open license to do as they wish.
Hey, got an IDF tank posted on the northwest corner now. I brought him in and talked to him. They're doing a show for us. Yeah, I think you hit one.
One of the videos obtained by the AP shows what appear to be heavily armed security guards discussing how to clear nearby Palestinians. One contractor AP spoke to said security staff fired in the direction of Palestinians walking away from the aid distribution site. The AP says audio analysis of this video indicates the machine gun fire came from within 150 meters of the camera and the Palestinians who had come there desperate for food. In other videos, live ammunition can be heard even closer to the camera. The contractor who took these videos says the Israeli army has been leveraging the aid distribution system to access information on the Palestinians who go there. He told the AP, all food distribution sites are equipped with cameras using facial recognition software, with footage beamed back to US analysts and Israeli soldiers sitting in a control room. The Associated Press says it can't verify the claims independently. The company providing security contractors to the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation has denied it gathers intelligence for the Israeli military. Since the foundation began operating more than a month ago, hundreds of Palestinians have been killed while queuing for the food they thought would keep them alive. But the GHF says there has not been a single violent incident at its distribution sites and has insisted the program will not be shut down.
Speak now to Tarek Abazoum. He joins us from Deir al-Balah in central Gaza. Tarek, you've been speaking to people who've witnessed these attacks at GHF distribution centres. Tell us exactly what they've told you.
Well, I've heard plenty of horrific testimonies from survivors and eyewitnesses who have really travelled for long distance to get their hands on food supplies. And they confirmed that 11 Palestinians were gunned down earlier this morning while trying simply to get food supplies from the GHF aid distribution centres. One of the witnesses told me that he was trying to get food boxes with his son from the Netzarim corridor this morning, and he said that bullets started abruptly flying across the entire area as his son was shot in his leg, and he managed miraculously to transfer him to the nearby medical point in order to get an emergency treatment. This has been a part of the testimonies that I have heard, and another witness told me that he thought that the aid distribution centers are humanitarian spaces that are meant to be safe for them, but absolutely it has been a huge risk taken by them to go there, confirming that people started to drop on the ground in front of his eyes, saying that a man was shot in his neck and they would not be able to transfer him to any nearby medical points due to the intensity of the Israeli gunshots. Many Palestinians are still going there, in fact, despite all kinds of danger unfolding. And the main reason that they are still going there is their desperate need for food that has been banned to enter Gaza and has been only linked to the GHF that has been turned into a new killing zone and all near and all across its 8 centers that have been established across Gaza.
And Noor, what reaction on this video from the Associated Press from Israel?
Well, from Israel, we're hearing from the Israeli government and from the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation itself. The two sides are reacting in pretty much the same language, implying that such reports are misinformation or disinformation, that they promote, quote, Hamas propaganda, and that international media is exaggerating the reports of Palestinian casualties in and around those distribution centers. Of course, let's remember that the Israeli government accused Haaretz, a daily Israeli newspaper, of blood libel when it published reports and testimonies of Israeli soldiers talking about orders given to them to shoot at unarmed Palestinian civilians trying to get to those distribution centers. From the minute the GHF started operating in Gaza, it has been controversial because of its mode of operation, because of the lack of transparency about who funds it. But the one thing that has been very clear from the beginning, Malin, is why it began operating. And it's to serve the Israeli stated goal of circumventing the United Nations and other international humanitarian organizations and to control who gets aid and when.
Well, the United Nations Secretary General's office says globally accepted humanitarian standards must be followed during the distribution of aid.
We are not asking, nor do we have a monopoly on humanitarian aid distribution in Gaza. There is enough work for everyone. Other international NGOs, member states, all that we ask is that people operate with the minimum standards that are globally accepted on humanitarian aid, impartiality, independence, that operate in a way that doesn't put the recipients at risk of being shot at, right? That doesn't put aid workers at greater risk. We are willing to work with anyone, and we have worked with many different partners. All that we're asking is for them to meet a minimum standard.
Well, Palestinians continue to take huge risks to receive just a small amount of food. Videos from the controversial Gaza Humanitarian Foundation show the contents of the boxes that are being distributed to starving Palestinians. They include canned goods like beans and vegetables, bottled items like vine leaves and flour, pasta, oil, biscuits and tea. Aid experts say what people in Gaza desperately need is nutritious food, which is ready to eat, because, of course, there is a scarcity of water and fuel to cook those supplies, which puts people at even greater risk. Experts also say when aid is delivered by recognized organizations, the people who receive it are registered, advised, and monitored for malnutrition to make sure that the vital food support does indeed reach those that are most vulnerable. But that is not happening in Gaza. Dr. Mads Gilbert has provided healthcare in Gaza for over 30 years. He told me the packages being distributed don't meet the basic needs of Palestinians.
The first point, the inadequacy of the content. There is no dairy or eggs in the parcels, neither in physical form or in powdered form. There is no infant formula desperately needed by the newborns and the children, and there are no added vitamins or minerals in the content of food. And the important point, of course, it needs cooking, and there are almost no cooking facilities available in Gaza. They only contain 1,750 kilocalories per parcel, versus the basic recommended need by WHO, which is 2,500. So the food content by itself is not sufficient, and it is way below what the UNRWA system provided before it was broken.
The Israeli military continues its assaults across Gaza. At least 73 Palestinians have been killed since dawn on Thursday. One of the attacks struck a school in Gaza City where displaced Palestinians had sought shelter. 11 people, including children, were killed there. Meanwhile, Hamas says it's reviewing a new U.S. proposal for a temporary ceasefire in Gaza. In a statement, the group says, "Our mediator brothers are making intensive efforts to bridge the gap between the parties, reach a framework agreement, and begin a serious round of negotiations. We're acting with a high sense of responsibility and are conducting national consultations to discuss the proposals we have received with the aim of reaching an agreement that guarantees an end to the aggression, the withdrawal and urgent relief for our people in the Gaza Strip."